It is Monday, the 3rd of June, 2024. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. Welcome to another week of this show. I mentioned last week there would be no specific theme for this week, so we're just doing other songs that I want to talk about. And specifically, we're going to be getting to a few artists who I really like, but I just haven't gotten a chance to talk about yet. There's a lot of those. I have a whole year, it's fine. Well, now I have 11 months. We're in the second month now. So today we're going to be talking about a band who I have known for a long time, but didn't get into until I was a teenager because I had heard some of their songs in various places, but it wasn't until I kind of looked up the band properly that I actually started listening to them. That band is They Might Be Giants. They Might Be Giants, boy. I probably first heard them through them doing the theme song and soundtrack of Malcolm in the Middle. Boss of Me is the theme song for that show, and it's very famous, you're not the boss of me now and you're not so big. But I just thought of that as the theme song for the show. And then later in my life I heard Birdhouse in Your Soul because Lemon Demon did a cover of it, and I heard Istanbul, Not Constantinople. Don't remember where I heard it, but I heard it somewhere, and I ended up getting into the band. I think what eventually got me to finally actually get into the band was on Albino Black Sheep. There was a multi-animator collaboration of animating the entirety of Fingertips. I am tempted to talk about Fingertips on this show, but it's not one song. It's technically a bunch of songs. So I don't know if I will, but we'll see. Maybe on April Fool's Day. But today we're just going to be talking about the fourth song on their first album. Their first album was just called They Might Be Giants, although some people call it the Pink Album. It's from 1986. And that song is called Don't Let's Start. I think we'll just roll right into it. There's not anything I really need to preface you with. It's just, that's what we're going to do. So we'll listen to it now and then come back in a few minutes and talk about it. Remember back in the first 2 weeks when every other song I would be like, oh man, doesn't that just get you pumped up? That's me with this song. No, this song has a really great energy to it, even though it does like that stop and start thing, that it still kind of keeps you going, which I think is supported by the music video. We'll get to that in a sec. But so I think the most important thing to talk about here is the lyrics, because they're not important, which is a rare thing for me to say. I think I'm generally a lyrics focused person rather than a music. I mean, the music has to work, obviously, but lyrics are the most important thing for me with a song, and I'll listen to very simple music if it has interesting lyrics to it. Don't Let's Start certainly has interesting lyrics to it, but they were kind of intentionally nonsensical because they were mostly chosen to fit the melody and the rhythm of the song. It wasn't like written to have a specific theme or anything. It was just kind of like they wrote words that fit the song, and that was it. You still have people coming up with theories about what the lyrics actually mean, and the Johns have been kind of like, it doesn't really mean anything. You're always going to get people invoking death of the author and be like, no, it means something, I swear. To my mind, it just seems to be like a relatively normal in quotation marks, a relatively straightforward breakup song, but told through the obscurity of their lyrical lens. The thing about They Might Be Giants, if you don't listen to them like I do, is that their lyrics, they're often thought of as like a comedy band, but that's not really true. They're just odd. They kind of write like aliens who are viewing normal human life through their own weird lens. Like they write very specific, very weird stuff. And when they don't, they write really vague stuff that people think is specific, full of cultural references and homages to other songs and musicians. And it just tends to be like very strange. And sometimes that strangeness belies a deeper meaning, and sometimes it doesn't. And this is one of the cases where it doesn't. But let's just go through the lyrics here a bit. So the chorus being, don't let's start. This is the worst part. Could believe for all the world that you're my precious little girl, but don't let's start. I've got a weak heart and I don't get around how you get around. Like I said, it just seems to be a pretty normal breakup thing to me from that bit. When you are alone, you are the cat, you are the phone, you are an animal. The words I'm singing now mean nothing more than meow to an animal. Wake up and smell the cat food in your bank account, but don't try to stop the tail that wags the hound. It seems to me like he's kind of, if we're reading meaning into it, because this is a very strange set of lyrics, but if you're thinking of it as a breakup story, it seems like he's saying we don't understand each other, The words I'm singing now mean nothing more than meow to an animal. And then the pre-chorus being D, world destruction, O, ver an overture, N, do I need apostrophe T, need this torture. I don't know why I enjoy that so much. Like, he's kind of telling the story while spelling it out, but like the things he's spelling out don't actually correspond to the lines at all. Like, I mean they do, because there's a D word, an O word, an N, and a T, but like they're not at the start, so it's a really weird way to do that. You get the chorus again. Then the second verse is a really important part, and the part that people quote a lot. No one in the world ever gets what they want, and that is beautiful. Everybody dies frustrated and sad, and that is beautiful. Another thing about They Might Be Giants, apart from the strangeness of their lyrics and the obscurity of their lyrics sometimes, is they tend to be quite dark with their subject matter or their tone. I mean, musically they're often like upbeat and kind of silly, but then their lyrics will be like, they'll belie something deeper and darker. A lot of songs about death, a lot of songs about the human condition, a lot of songs about getting older and whatnot. The phrase, no one in the world ever gets what they want, and that is beautiful, is it kind of like, it catches you off guard. It's like missing a step in a staircase, you know? It's just like, no one in the world ever gets what they want. Oh, that's sad. And that is beautiful. Huh? Everybody dies frustrated and sad, and that is beautiful. I really like it, though, because it's like, it's not optimistic or pessimistic. It's kind of like nihilistic in the anti-nihilist way of like, nothing matters, and so why not have fun, you know? Nothing matters, so nothing matters in the grand scheme of things, but what does it matter to you, you know? And I kind of enjoy the lyrics from that lens, but again, it is just kind of strange. They want what they're not, and I wish they would stop saying deputy dog dog a ding dong, deputy dog dog a ding dong, deputy. It's funny reading the lyrics written out like that. Yeah, just a random reference to Deputy Dog. Yeah, it's just a cartoon character, you know? It's very strange lyrics because, of course, they're not supposed to mean anything. And then you get the chorus again, and then you get the bridge. I don't want to live in this world anymore. I don't want to live in this world. So like I said, even though it's strange and clearly is mixing its metaphors and just giving you these weird ideas, that seemingly unrelated ideas, it does seem to me to be a pretty standard, like, this guy is sad because of a breakup. They didn't understand each other. Their relationship broke down. He doesn't want to live in this world anymore. It seems like a pretty standard story through all the obscure lyrics. What I find really weird is I went on to, there's a wonderful wiki called This Might Be a Wiki, just a wonderful resource for They Might Be Giants fans. Got information on like all their releases. It's got lyrics. It's got all that stuff, and on each song's page there's a separate page where you can like post your interpretations of what you think the song means. So I was looking through there to see what people had to say, and a bunch of people were saying it was like clearly, as if it's like definitely true, about a father seeing his young daughter grow up, get pregnant, lose her virginity, whatever. And I think it's just such a ridiculous interpretation because it sounds like such a breakup song. And most of these theories are hinging on the phrase, my precious little girl. They're saying, oh, no one says that about a relationship. They're saying that's like a father-daughter thing. And yes, that would be a father-daughter thing, but like relationships can have nicknames like that and weird phrases, like people call someone their girl or like their precious little, like it's, yes, it is. I would more immediately associate that with a paternal relationship, but it's not, it doesn't have to be that. And the rest of the song doesn't really give that. So it's a really strange interpretation to me. In terms of music, their early stuff was very much just the two. Oh, I haven't even talked about the members of the band. The two core members are John Linnell and John Flansburgh. The other members of the band have varied through the years, but for the last while now, for the last like at least a decade, I'd say, it's been Dan Miller, Danny Weinkauf, and Marty Beller. But like the early albums were just the two Johns and whatever random collaborators they would get to occasionally do like guest vocals or whatever. So, you know, they would play guitars, they would play keyboards, a lot of drum machines and MIDI sequences and stuff. And so like a lot of the instruments in this are very clearly MIDI, particularly the drum machine, right? You can just tell it's not a real drum kit, but it's part of their sound. Up until John Henry, their sound was very much like that, and it's a very specific sound for them, and I really enjoy it because it does sound homemade, you know? It does sound like just two dudes making music together for the fun of it, and I really enjoy it. I've always thought this song would be a great opening song for an album, but the actual opening song for this album, Everything Right Is Wrong Again, is like the perfect opening track of an album, so I understand why they didn't do it. Fourth is a weird place to put it, though. I think I personally would have gone Everything Right Is Wrong Again, Don't Let's Start, number 3, because you have to have number 3 in the third spot. That's the whole joke. And then put your hands on the puppet head, but I don't know. It still works where it is. It's a great song. The other thing I want to mention, because I'm going to talk about They Might Be Giants a fair bit on this show. I do love them, and I have a lot of their songs that I like. But there is another podcast called Don't Let's Start, a podcast about They Might Be Giants. And it's hosted by two musicians and friends, Jordan Cooper and Dave Fox. They're big fans of They Might Be Giants, and they go through every album and every song chronologically. They talk about demos. They interview people who have worked on the albums. They even interviewed a guy who wrote a song called They Might Be Giants that was like a fan mystery for years. It's a really great podcast. If you want to learn more about They Might Be Giants, I would highly recommend it. I was going to re-listen to their segment about this song before recording this, but I didn't in the end. So they might contradict what I said here or have completely different opinions. I don't remember what they said about the interpretations, but I feel like we had similar thoughts. Anyway, highly recommend. I'll link it in the description. Great show if you want to learn more about They Might Be Giants. And also, supporting them on Patreon is great because they have loads of bonus episodes. They've done episodes about Metallica and Frank Black and Across the Universe by the Beatles. Highly recommend. You should totally listen to them. And I will continue listening to them and probably relay some of the things they say when I'm talking about other They Might Be Giants songs. But for now, that's it for today, I think. Make sure to comment, subscribe, give a like, all that jazz. And I will talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.